Okay, this video is going to show you how to use the layer mask with a little bit more pizzazz, a little more advanced. So this is the project we'll do, but we're just going to sort of move that over here. And so I have my original picture of the model, and I have the Hawaiian sunset. All right, so the very first thing is we need to cut out the model, and we're going to go over selection tools in just a minute. Or in the next video, I should say. But I'm going to just do a real rough cutout of the model. Okay, and that's good enough for me. So I have the original background layer. I'm just going to hit Command J, and when I turn off that, now we have a cutout. Not perfect, but good enough for me. I am, however, going to erase some of the bits it picked up that we really don't need, except I need a softer brush. There we go. Don't really need those things hanging out over there. Okay, so now I have that layer. Now I want to bring in this image. So Command A, Command C, Command V. And what I'm going to do is lower the opacity. Too much. I kind of see where it is. And I want to place the image approximately where I'd like it. And I think right about there is kind of cool. I kind of want those hills right beneath her eyes. All right, and then I'm going to turn the opacity back up. I'm going to come to this image, and if you hit Control or Command and click, you can see it grabs the outline again. Then I'll just highlight this layer and hit Command J, and there we go. We have a cutout of her. All right, I'll move that layer down there so we have our model cutout and we have our silhouette cutout. And now we start to use some layer masks. So the layer mask here, and this is where I want to show gradients, how to use a gradient on a layer mask. So a gradient is this tool right here. And a gradient basically allows you to go from one color or tone to another. And there's multiple presets here. The one we're interested in is the second one, which goes to our top color to transparency. You can choose a linear gradient, you can choose a radial gradient, there's angular, reflected, and diamond, but we are going to stick with linear. You can also reverse it if you'd like to and change the opacity, but we're not going to do any of that. So basically the way you use a gradient is you click once and you drag out to where you want it to stop. And so we have that, except I actually want it to go the other way. And that's not the way I wanted it to go. Remember, I have to be on the layer mask. It switched over. So I need to be on the layer mask. And there we go. That's what I was aiming to do. Except I want to maybe be a little more subtle with this. There we go. All right, and so from here, I want to then duplicate this layer. If I hold Alt down and click and drag it, it'll just duplicate it. I'm going to put a layer mask on here, and then I'm going to change the blend mode to soft light. And from here I can start painting in. I have my opacity at about 20. And I'm going to start painting in where I want. Oops, that's probably too low. There we go. So notice what I can do is I can make the image a little bit more present, or if I invert the color, I can make her a little more present. Right? And I think what I want to do is a combination of working here, where I want to actually have it pretty much almost black and white here. Except that's too strong, too strong. Let's bring that opacity down. There we go. And then here, work to get those elements back in. And then I kind of want to focus on, so that's what that's doing. I kind of want to focus on getting the facial features highlighted a little bit more. And so again, have the opacity down quite a bit. And so just right around here, oops, wrong color. There we go. Just make that mouth, the nose, especially the eyes, a little bit more prominent there. I am also going to get her fingers in there. You can see with them, that chin, it looks a little funky. So we'll pull back right here on the image. Maybe I pulled back a little too much. There we go. All right, and then the only other thing is just the cutout of the girl is a little sloppy. So we maybe get an eraser and come in here and erase some of this stuff. There we go. Then one of those layers, right here is pretty sloppy. And I am directly erasing. I could be using the layer mask. Okay, and so we get that kind of neat double exposure idea. But the main thing here is to see, oops, I pulled this out. The main thing is to see how we used these two layer masks in order to create this image. Right, we started there, we cut out and added a layer mask, and then we added on top to bring back some of those features. And so you kind of have this Hawaiian setting kind of view. Now you can also bring this back, and if we pull back a little bit, what we would want to do is line up. So maybe let's enlarge this a little bit and line up there. And then maybe bring the opacity down a little bit. And let's create a new layer and fill that with white so we can see the image. Alright, so it's not perfect, but you kind of get a sense that of what you can do. In fact, I don't actually like that. I just like the white background. I think we'll stick with that. But you get a sense of what you can do with gradients and with advanced usage of the layer mask, right? And again, gradients are over here. Now, just to give you some fun things to also consider with gradients, okay? So right now, I'm going to just delete out everything except for our cutout and our background, our white background. So if I create a new layer, Command-Shift-N, or you can click this button, and I come up to my gradients, I could choose other gradients. So a really popular one is the rainbow gradient. And what I can do is just kind of rainbow it across. And then if you change the blend mode to color, you get that. So you may want to get these lines all the way across so you get all of them in between. And then you can also change the opacity of that so that it's not so crazy. This can get really fun. You can also, do like the duotone or something along those lines. So you can really get kind of interesting results with this using different blending modes. I think color is probably the best for when you're doing this, but try these other ones. Like that one's kind of cool, vivid light. Overlay is nice. It's a little subtle, so we can bring the opacity back up. Right, and you get these more high contrast looks. All right, and all that really is just a cutout and the background. So basically what happens with these overlays is they show up wherever there's tones. But since this is solid white, it's not going to show up. This color is not going to show up there. So it'll just show up where there's actual tone, and everywhere where she is, and her hair and her face and her skin and all that is all tones. All right, so that's basically, I'll show you a couple more. If you wanted to change the type of gradient, so let's make this really apparent. All right, so that's a radial gradient, right? Maybe start the circle over here, right? And so it's kind of got these radial bands. You can do the diamond. Diamond's fun, right? It has this sharp line. So one thing you could do is maybe like right across her eyes, right? Do the diamond thing if I can line it up right. Right, that might be neat. Or right above her eyes. Okay, you can also do the reflection, or I believe that's diamond centered. Yeah. So lots of fun stuff to explore here with the gradient tool and pairing that with layer masks. Alrighty.